What's up, guys? We're back. Week 18 is over. The regular season's over. And the first All-22 that came out was Jarrett Stidham, so that's the first video you're getting this week. Overall, second start, I thought it was pretty good. The blowout, I don't think, was indicative of how well he played. Do I think that Jarrett Stidham should be the Raiders' quarterback of the future? Probably not. But I certainly think that there's something to work with, and he can at the least be a good spot starter around the league. Short and sweet, not a lot to say. I think that the film will tell all. So, without further ado, let's get to it. Jarrett Stidham's second start. Let's get it going. Starting off with some play action, just getting him in rhythm. Routine throw. One thing I love about Josh McDaniels is that even his run game is really intricately designed. There's always a motion, there's always a fake. He's never just handing the ball off up the middle, running a man-blocking concept like Todd Bowles and Byron Leftwich do in Tampa. Here, Jarrett Stidham shows off the wheels. This is a positive run. Doesn't matter if there's anybody downfield. I'm not going to second guess his choices. He made a first down, and that was the point of the play, right? Stidham's not going to confuse anybody for being Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson or even Josh Allen, but he's a good runner. You saw it at Baylor and Auburn. The man can move. That's another plus run, 10-yard run. Okay, this throw is silly. I hope they show us the replay. They're not going to show us the replay, but look at that placement. This is a good, borderline great throw. Now, Davante Adams does a really good job of flashing his hands late. They mentioned this in the broadcast. If Davante Adams is already up there with his hands, jumping, spinning, trying to float in the air like an Alshon Jeffrey catch. Sorry, I grew up a Bears fan, so that's who I think of when I think of high pointing a ball, right? But if he's up there with his hands already, the cornerback, even though he has his back turned to the ball, is going to instinctively just put his arms up like he's doing the YMCA dance, right? Just to try to break up the ball. Because Davante Adams doesn't move his hands until the last possible second, the cornerback has no idea when the ball's coming, and he just has to continue running. It's a perfect throw, but Davante Adams does a lot to make that play happen. I'm going to give it a solid grade, but I could absolutely see it being great. Here, similar notion, right? Ball's at the 32-yard line, so it's about a 32-yard downfield throw, about 45 yards downfield, from the launch point. It's late. It's into double coverage, but Davante Adams gets both hands on it. So it's certainly a solid throw. Jump balls that are deep are typically solid. It could, again, be a great throw depending on how you want to grade it. I'm going to give it a solid. I'm going to give both of those last two throws solid, and that's routine. Because I know that I am typically a little higher on Jarrett Stidham than I am other quarterbacks than most people are on Jarrett Stidham. So I'm going to be biased against the player that I'm typically in favor of. Here, 3rd and 6, the play is pretty clearly that you want to hit Davante Adams in stride so that he can catch this ball here and get upfield. Stidham's looking at him, he's reading the play out, and he just takes a little too long. If the ball had been out a second earlier, that's a completion. It's probably a first down, and you're certainly going for it on 4th and short. Instead, he takes a sack. That's a negative sack, but overall, at the very least, a good drive, and it probably should have ended in a touchdown if Davante Adams, one of the best in the world, doesn't drop a ball that hits his hands. Just a routine throw, staying on schedule. Drive 2 starts off on track. This play goes to fucking hell. I think that what happens here is that Stidham fakes the handoff to the wrong side. I don't know, so there's definitely a safety blitz, and typically if you're going to stay in play action with a safety blitz, you want to run at the play or at the blitz. So you would have Jacobs running directly into the blitzer, like as a blitz pickup. Or you audible out of the play action because you know you're getting blitzed. But I don't know if Stidham forgot to audible or if Jacobs just didn't quite get the picture. Either way, this is a fucked play. I'm going to give it a no-fault sack because I can't tell whose fault it was that Jacobs didn't run into the DB blitz. And I'm going to assume that Stidham doesn't have full audible control over this offense in his second start. This, however, this is putrid. There's no excuse. You can see here, it's cover 2, which means you have safety help. I mean, it's not cover 2, it's 2 over. But regardless, you have a cornerback on the receiver. You also have safety help. You're also throwing a Mac Hollins, so it's not like you're bombing it up to Nuke Hopkins, who routinely wins these kinds of balls. That's really dumb. That's a pickable, and it's kind of inexplicable. Raiders are going to come out running. Honestly, I don't think they should be running. They're down 11. But that's a really good throw. This is a solid, borderline great throw. Perfect placement, in stride, hits his tight end in tight coverage, and allows him to get about 10 yards after the catch. That's a really good throw. Again, I'm going to call it solid, but I kind of want to call it great. Here's another plus movement. You got a plus movement on the last play as well. And another big run. It's a positive run. You get over 6 yards on a run, it's probably positive. You know, down and distance matters, how you got those yards matters, but you got 10 yards. You get 10 yards, pick up a first down with your legs, that's good. The key with running is just to grade it on a similar curve to what you would with the same amount of yardage passing. Like here, this is an impressive run. Yeah, that's a plus move for outrunning the defensive end, and he turns it upfield. He showed some good speed. It's fun, it's exciting, but it's 5 yards. So it's a neutral run with a plus move. Because he would have gotten the same amount of yards on a check down, right? And just like that play. Check down. Routine throw gets just as many yards as a more exciting run. The key is to not get swept up in the excitement of how cool a run looks. The key is to focus on if it was successful in getting a first down / touchdown, and to focus on how many yards were gained relative to how many yards could have been gained on a similar pass. Like, it's harder to run for 10 yards than it is to throw for 10 yards, but you could always just throw for 10 yards. You're the quarterback. Here, routine throw, low end of routine. Could have been bad even, but we'll give it to him because we've been pretty harsh on him so far. Raiders are running the ball a lot. I don't love that. You're 3 yards out. Give your quarterback a couple shots here. It's a bad throw to Waller. I understand what you're trying to do. Waller is a gigantic genius of a tight end, and you got a cornerback on him. Give him the jump ball, but it was poorly thrown, and I don't love goal line fades that much either. Fourth down here, this is a really good play. Great job to dodge Chris Jones on the run. Now, it doesn't look like much, and you're not going to see the replay. But this ball hits Davante Adams in the hands. I'll go find a better replay for you. Don't you fear. But this is a solid throw with 2+ movements. To get away from Chris Jones there is tough. To throw while running and get it away from this defensive end who's trying to bat the ball is also tough. Now you can kind of see here. One hand, two hand, they're both wearing black sleeves. And there's the ball. That's a really good throw, borderline great throw. Let's show you a better angle real quick. All right, drive 4, only about a minute until half. And Stidham comes out throwing strikes. Now, it's prevent defense, so it's easier, but this is still 20 yards downfield on a dime. Really good throw. We're going to give him a solid for that. We adjust our grades for prevent defense, but these throws are pretty good. And this is bad. Okay, so the first throw is really good. Let me just go over why. Sure, there's a cushion, but this throw with normal time on the clock and a normal context would be a great throw. It's 20 yards downfield. It is a ton of velocity. Hits him right in stride. He can turn up the field. That's really good. Because it's prevent defense, it's a little easier. The window's a little bigger, so we'll still give him a solid throw for it. Here, this is just bad. No excuse to miss. He gets a plus movement. There was a guy in his face, but let's see. It might come back. I guess, yep, he gets hooked. Davante Adams gets hooked at the top of his route. Not his fault. Things happen. We don't grade plays that have penalties on them, so that's actually ungraded. Delete the bad throw. Here, this is just rough. Just Chris Jones collapsing the pocket. It's a no-fault sack. Nothing you can do. Like, you don't even need to see the All-22. There literally wasn't enough time for him to get to the back of his drop. It's not his fault. Here, he does get to the back of his drop because of a hold, and he throws a nice ball. This is another good ball. It's 18 yards downfield in stride. I know that it's prevent defense, but a lot of quarterbacks don't have the velocity to throw 18 yards. And yes, there's a penalty that enabled him to make the throw, but we're still going to count it because we saw the throw. If he was given proper protection, we know he can make an 18-yard drive throw to the middle of the field. That's good. This is just a throwaway. I guess I give him a plus movement because he didn't really have anything to go to. We don't need to see how the routes develop downfield because a throwaway is a throwaway. Here I think he might have a free play. No, it's illegal formation. This is bad. It's a sack fumble, and it's on him. He gets a plus movement for getting out of the pocket when it starts to collapse, but you have to hold the ball. So, plus movement, bad sack, bad fumble. Just can't let it happen. It's a really bad play, and it'll cost his team about 6 points because they could have gotten a field goal there, and now they're giving one up.
So, just a little halftime check-in. I know that the half ended on a really bad note with that sack fumble that was a quarterback sack. That was Stidham's fault. And I know that he had that really ugly interception, and that led to, in total, 6 points for the Chiefs. That being said, Stidham still played a really, really good first half of football. Yes, he had the pickable, but other than that interception, he didn't miss a throw. He had 7 solid throws, and remember that 3 of them we said could be great, but we're going to be careful, only calling them solid. He also had 3 routine throws that he hit all of them. He had 4 positive runs, where he broke off either first down yardage or 10 yards. And he navigated the pocket in a positive manner 10 times, including 1 throwaway. He was sacked 3 times that weren't his fault. So you're probably thinking, how is it 24-3 if Jarrett Stidham played really good football? Well, first of all, Patrick Mahomes also played really good football in the first half. Mahomes was a little less accurate in the first half than Stidham was, but he did have that one really explosive throw to Justin Watson. He also didn't turn the ball over, which helps. Additionally, we have the Davante Adams drop that I showed you already, the double coverage jump ball. We called it solid. It could be great. That's a drop. That turned into a field goal. Should have been 7 points. You throw the ball and hit the hands of one of the top 10 receivers in the NFL. He gets both of his hands on it and he doesn't get hit. He should catch that every time. So that's 4 more points. All of a sudden, instead of being down 20, you're down 16. Then Davante Adams drops the, again, very solid, possibly great throw when Stidham rolls out and hits him in both hands in the end zone on 4th down. That's 0 points, but it should be 7. So instead of being down 16, now you're down 9. Being down 9 points despite 2 turnovers to the Chiefs is pretty admirable. It's still a close game, and anything can happen. Now, obviously, you can't survive 2 drop touchdowns that result in negative 11 points and turn the ball over twice. But before you overreact to interceptions and fumbles, remember that a pickable ball usually gets caught by the defensive back like 70% of the time. And fumbles only get recovered by the other team about half the time. So to lose a fumble and to throw an interception, even when you deserved to be picked off and you caused the fumble, really isn't as bad as it sounds. You can't be swayed by the results and the fact that the scoreboard looks very poor for the Raiders. Additionally, keep in mind, Stidham was accurate on 91% of his passes in that half. He had a positive play on 55% of his dropbacks. The average quarterback in the NFL, the average starter, is accurate on about 71% of his passes, so 20% better than average. The average starting quarterback has a positive play on about 25% of their dropbacks. He's more than double that. And yes, the two negative plays were both turnovers. They were both very negative, but he only had negative plays on 10% of his dropbacks. So if you can clean up the boneheaded interception and you can just teach him to hold on to the football when he's getting hit, which I don't think will be a problem. It was never a problem in college. Those are both rookie kind of mistakes in his second start that are really easy to clean up. And other than that, he's been flawless. So as we go into the second half, keep an open mind, understanding that his first half was really good.
Back to the film. They're just going to come out and play action. Stidham's going to go through his reads, and he's going to take a neutral run. Now, this is a perfect example of when the All-22 can be helpful. I don't know what's going on downfield. Apparently ESPN thinks that this ref standing resolute is much more important than what's happening 10 yards downfield. So, unfortunately, we're going to have to go to the All-22 to see if Jarrett Stidham is processing well. So this is actually almost exactly the same play that the Raiders ran on the first play of the game. It's a motion across with the tight end, except instead of the tight end leaking out, so in the original play, the first play of the game, the tight end leaks out into the flat. Here it's the running back. As you can see, Josh Jacobs, this is even a little bit after Stidham has pulled the ball down, but Josh Jacobs is covered. This defender is going to crush him if Stidham tries to check it down. So it might be a 2-yard gain, but you're getting your running back hit for no reason, and it's 2 yards. Mac Hollins running this dig is blanket bracket covered. And Davante Adams running this deep post route is safety over the top and cornerback coming to help. So there's really nowhere to go. It's actually a really good idea by Stidham to pull it down and run 4 or 5 yards. More play action. Hit the check down right away. Stay in rhythm. Good job. 3rd and 1. That's routine, by the way. So neither of those plays are positive, even though they're both indicative of his processing being better than you would expect from a guy in his second start. Here, good job to move, and that's a borderline positive run. So let's see. Line of scrimmage is the 34. Scrambles and runs, and he gets to the 40. 5-yard run. We'll call it neutral, but it's definitely a plus movement, and it's very savvy. Pick up the first down. Nobody gets hit. Easy, safe play. That's exactly how I want my quarterback to use his legs. I believe in running the ball to continue a drive or to pound it into the end zone. I don't really believe in running the ball in other scenarios, so that's perfect. Speaking of perfect, look at Stidham get to the top of his drop, find his open receiver, hit him in time. Great job by Renfro to break this for extra yardage. It's a routine throw, but it's very solid. It's only 4 yards downfield. It's not that hard, but the processing is there. Here, Stidham shows off some pretty good arm strength, making a routine throw while rolling backwards out of his throw. It's also some good processing. He handles pressure and gets the ball out hot to his check down right away, but it's still just a routine play. Same here. This is what you want your guy to do. Sure, he does a good job executing it, showing that he is at the very least capable of being an NFL quarterback, as Bill Belichick likes to say about Mac Jones, apparently. But it doesn't show that he's impressive. All right, play action. We got a dig. Oof. I don't know what the hell he's trying to do here, but he gets hit while he's trying to do it. So this is a bad throw with a plus move. I don't know where the ball's intended to go. We can check the All-22, though, and see what he might have been thinking. I have a feeling it's not good. We'll check that at the end of the drive because we're almost done. But yeah, his arm gets hit, and that's why the ball goes spiraling. Maybe he was trying to hit Foster Moreau. Maybe he was trying to throw it away. I honestly don't know. Here we get a delay a game. I'll give him a pass on that because he's new to the team or new to the starting offense. We're going to call it pedestrian, but it's kind of bad. And we'll see how I feel at the end of the game when I'm looking at the charts. That's probably a bad throw. So, as you'll see here from the sideline copy, nobody's really getting open, but that's not the point. The point is that when he gets hit and throws, clearly something happens to the ball. It's going to land about here where my mouse is, and there's nobody in the area. I can't imagine that he's trying to hit this receiver on the out route in the end zone. That's 20 yards deeper. Maybe he's trying to gun it in here to Moreau. There's also a chance he's just trying to get the ball the hell out of his hands and throw it away. I'm honestly not sure, but we're going to have to stick with our original grade because the L-22 is not helping us at all. This doesn't make any sense. All right, we're on drive 7. More play action. You're down a couple touchdowns, but if you score a touchdown on this drive, it ain't over. So there's another positive run. 7 yards. Good job. Stidham really utilizing his feet. He's a pretty good runner. I give him like a B+ on his mobility. And then here, oof. That's a tough throw. Let's see it again. That's a good throw. That's a solid throw. Now, it was a little behind, but what he's basically trying to do once again is say, I've got Darren Waller, an elite tight end, and you've got a cornerback. Or I think that's actually Reed. That's a safety. Either way, look at the height difference. I'm going to put the ball short and high, and Waller's going to go up and get it. And Waller just doesn't go up and get it. So that's a solid throw. It's a jump ball. It's catchable. It hit both of the hands of his star tight end. You got to expect that he'll catch that ball. That's not on Stidham. Good job. Well, I understand running the ball here just to get it away from the goal line. And again, this game's not yet over, although it will be soon. If the Raiders get a touchdown on this drive, everything's on the table. Here, Stidham does a good job of sifting through an extremely muddy pocket. Like, he's not getting pressured that much, but look at how messy that is. He's making it so it's a plus movement with a routine throw. Good job getting through his progressions. That's the kind of thing you want to see on a short sample. That will indicate that on a larger sample, he can be good. Here, bad throw. Can't get that ball tipped. It's bad throw. No, he wasn't pressured. Just bad throw. All right, this is kind of it. If you don't get a touchdown on this drive, we're going to stop grading because it's over. Here's a solid throw. Again, much like at the end of the first half, it needed to be... it was... Okay. At the end of the first half, we went through how a bunch of throws against prevent defense were actually pretty impressive, and here it's no different. 20 yards downfield, hits him in stride, plenty of velocity. It's solid. Colt McCoy probably still can't make that throw, right? That's still an impressive throw. Some movement, a routine throw, nothing to it. Here, steps up in the pocket again, drives it in. We'll call this pedestrian. It was a little behind, but it is catchable, and when you're throwing to a tight end, I will let you utilize his frame. That's pedestrian. Again, if in a different game script, the same throw with tighter coverage might be a good throw. But he's wide open, and the Chiefs are just trying to make sure that the Raiders don't score a touchdown in 2 plays, you know? They'll let you get a touchdown, but you got to waste some clock to do it. Here's another routine pass, and another routine pass. And we'll call that routine as well, because he's just sitting down in a void in a prevent defense. Real simple. Routine throw. See, note, the Chiefs are totally okay with this. Oh, Chiefs are totally okay with this. They're fine with letting the Raiders score a touchdown. They're just glad that it took like 4 minutes off the clock. Here, Stidham does a really, really good job. That's a great throw. It stinks that Waller couldn't get his second foot quite down, but that is a great throw. Best of the day. Third and 10, Stidham drops back and throws a dime to Hunter Renfrow. It's a great throw. It's a great throw. See if they give you the replay. I want the tight copy. There it is. Look at this. Look at the placement on this ball. Again, 20 yards downfield. Couldn't be better. Touchdown. Love it. Unfortunately, that's probably the last relevant play we'll see from this game. So the Raiders do an onside kick and it fails, but they do get the ball back and there's still 6 minutes left. So we're going to have to grade this, I guess. There's a routine pass. Dropped, of course. And here, Stidham fumbles again. It's a negative run and a fumble. Like, good job of stepping up. I'll give you a plus move, but you fumbled. routine. Don't care about the face mask that moves him up the field. It's still routine. Under complete siege, plus movement. Let's see if there was anybody in the area. There's nobody in the area. There's plus movement and a sack. I'm not going to call it a sack on him because he was in the process of getting creamed. It's a no-fault sack with a plus move. Here, he's stepping up like crazy, drives it into Davante Adams. It's not a great throw. That's a bad throw. He's just a little behind. Again, it's tough for any of this to matter. 4 minutes left, you're down 20, but it's kind of gradable. And there's the game-sealing pick until it isn't. And here, just under complete siege, I'll give him 2 plus movements. He extended that play a lot. He just couldn't get away. And that's going to be it. I don't know if he takes another snap in this game. If he does, yeah, no. Completely worthless. In fact, that entire last drive, arguably worthless. But I digress. We've seen the film. Let's get to the charts.
In sum, Jarrett Stidham played a pretty good game. Now, he was much better in the first half than he was in the second half, and he does have to clean up some of the turnovers. But there's a lot to work with. First of all, he was really accurate. In the first half, he was 91% accurate, and the game got out of hand and things stopped mattering quite as much. But even on the entire game, he was 83% accurate. League average is 72. He had a positive play on 36% of his dropbacks this game, and 55% of them in the first half. Again, league average is about 24%. That's really, really good. His negative play rate, despite the fact that his negative plays were terrible, like he had 2 pickable balls and 2 fumbles, those are really bad, but he only had negative plays on 16% of his dropbacks. So the negative plays were very rare, it's just that they were very negative when they happened. That gets encapsulated in his slugging score, which was only a 7.25. And in a game where you have so many more positive plays than negative, and a game where you're that accurate, typically you would expect a much higher slugging score. That said, 7.25 is right in line for a B+. Typically, anything between a 10 and a 6 is a B to B+. Anything above a 10 is typically an A. Anything above like a 13 or 14 is typically an A+. This is a really good performance. Dare I say a great performance by a quarterback making his second start with a ramshackle offensive line against a Chiefs team that knew he had to pass because they got down so quickly. I already went over it in the middle of the video, but God forbid Davante Adams catches those 2 touchdown passes Stidham threw in the first half. It looks like an entirely different game, right? Because the Raiders are allowed to run the ball in the second half because the clock isn't up against them. And because they're able to run the ball, even if they don't run it effectively, the Chiefs can't just pin their ears back and send 5 right at the quarterback, right? That's a lot of stress to put on this not-so-good Raiders offensive line. Now, I'm not saying that the Raiders would be silly not to roll with Jarrett Stidham next year. I like Jarrett Stidham a lot. There are better quarterbacks out there. I don't think he's great. I think he's a fine quarterback. If you can go get Tom Brady, you should. If you can go get Baker Mayfield, you should. I don't think they can get Marcus Mariota because they already tried that. But if they can, they should. Other than that, there's really nobody out there I would rather have than Jarrett Stidham, and that includes Derek Carr. Derek Carr is probably a little better than Stidham, but when you factor in age and contract, I don't think that it's very close. I would much rather have Stidham, who, again, I think is a half step below Carr, but he's much younger and he's much, much, much cheaper, so you can fix that offensive line. So through 2 games, small sample, end of season, how much does it matter? Jarrett Stidham looked really good. I don't have much else to say other than the fact that I think that I was pretty harsh on him in this game, and he still came out looking like roses. If you think that I was too easy on him in any spots, let me know. If you think that I should have given him great throws on some of those ones that I graded as solid just to be safe, let me know. Otherwise, until next time, I'll be grading film. Hasta.